7th, 2026. And I just wondered, as I'm reading through the reading today, if you got this. This came out of one of my other study Bibles. The good news is, after we read all of this, we see that we can trust God to work His plans out and keep His promises no matter how desperate your circumstances are. It can be completely something that's overwhelming you in your life. We've all been there several times. Or it could be the smallest little thing that God takes care of. And I have a pencil. I have a little pencil here, and it looks like nothing online, but this is a old pencil, and it looks like a bullet, but whenever you pull it apart, it is a pencil, and it's an antique, and my husband gave it to me, and I lost it last week, and I thought I lost it at jail. And I thought, I'll never find it again. I looked, and I even went, whenever I went back to jail, I went and looked in the room I taught in to see if it fell on the floor. It wasn't on the floor. I asked people if they'd seen it. And it's hard to describe something like this. Nobody had seen it. Well, guess what? When I opened up my other Bible that I didn't take to jail, this little pencil was in it. And God cares about even the little things. I would have bet everything that I had it with me in my folder. But you know what? My little pencil is here, and I was just thanking God the whole time whenever that fell out of my Bible in my house and not at the jail. So I am excited today about just some of the little things that makes no difference. That did to me, He knows it did to me, to the big things like we've read in 2 Chronicles 19 and 20 today. Now, you've been reading along with us, and you see and read yesterday where King Ahab was killed, just happened to have a random arrow shot that just happened to went through one of the cracks in his armor and injured him severely. You know what? There's nothing random in the kingdom. And so now let's look at today's, and I'm going to get so wrapped up into this. Whenever I read this, I called I didn't call my daughter. I sent her a text. You got to read this chapter, these two chapters, 2 Chronicles 19 and 20. I said, you'll know what I mean after you read all of it. And I got the sweetest message back from her talking about what it said to her. And so as we look at this is beautiful. I think you should highlight and put a marker in your Bible for these two chapters for sure. When King Jehoshaphat of Judah arrived safely at home in Jerusalem because he had been at war with Ahab, and Ahab died, then Jehu, son of Hanani, the seer, went out to meet him. Why should you help the wicked and love those who hate the Lord? He asked the king, because of what you've done, the Lord is angry with you. Even so, there is some good in you. For you have removed the Asherah poles throughout the land, and you have committed yourself to seeking God. And so, do we 100% commit ourselves to seeking God like we should be? Man, He's going to find your pencil for you. He's going to change you got something coming up on the calendar that you're dreading. What if you all of a sudden find out that it's been postponed for 2 months? Oh my goodness. That's another answer. It's amazing whenever God is in the well, and He always is in the mix. I said, I didn't want to make it sound like that He's not. But God didn't want Jehoshaphat crushed by this rebuke, so He included a word of encouragement. So let's look at that. In verse 4, Jehoshaphat lived in Jerusalem, but went out among the people, traveling from Beersheba to the hill country and encouraging people to return to the Lord, the God of their ancestors. He went out again. He himself was on this mission. He appointed judges throughout the nations in all the fortified towns, and he said to them, always, this is where it gets good. This is where I have almost everything underlined and highlighted in my Bible. Always think carefully before pronouncing judgment. Okay, so let's me and you stop here. Are you the judge, jury, and executioner every time that somebody does something that offends you? Do you say they deserved every bit of that? Do you say they should have got more? Do you think about the families on both sides of this situation? Do you think about, are you just dwelling in your offense? Or have you thought about there's probably some offense on the other side too that led up to this time? He went on to say, remember that you do not judge to please people, but to please the Lord. He will be with you when you render the verdict in each case. Judge to please the Lord. They were accountable to God for the standards that they would be judging others. And so, this is great for all leaders. You are judging for God. Be impartial and honest. Be faithful. Act only out of fear of God, not man. See verse 7, it says, fear the Lord and judge with integrity. And verse 9, these were his instructions to them. You must always act in the fear of the Lord, with faithfulness and an undivided heart. Oh, friends, I see too many times that people have a divided heart. They, especially with my friends in stripes that I see twice a week, they've been picked apart by the media, by people that think they know the whole story. We don't anybody know the whole story of anything. Yet we're going to be the first ones to judge. Let me tell you that don't do that anymore until you've contacted somebody and you have visited with them and you was introduced to their family. Get involved in just the personal side of stuff. Why did this happen? Why is somebody offending you? What is their backstory that made them lash out? I mean, there's just, we could just go a lot of what ifs on that. The whole thing in a nutshell is we're not the judge. And we shouldn't be adding to a story that we don't even know the story of, if that makes any kind of sense. And then at the end of chapter 19, it says, take courage as you fulfill your duties, and may the Lord be with those who do what is right. See, do your duties. Don't try to jump over and do somebody else's duties. That's not what you're supposed to do. Take courage as you fulfill your duties. Stay out of everybody's stuff. Just do your own. And the Lord will be with you because you are doing what is right then. Chapter 20. And I'm going to skip down just for time's sake. Oh my goodness, because I love this. I love these two chapters. Jehoshaphat. Now I better go to verse 3. Jehoshaphat was terrified by the news and he begged the Lord for guidance. Okay, so I got to go back up again. What's the news? After this, the armies of Moab, the Moabites and Ammonites, and some of the Meunites declared war on Jehoshaphat. And the messengers came and told Jehoshaphat, a vast army from Edom is marching against you from beyond the Dead Sea. And they're already getting close. They're almost here. Let's just say that. So now he's terrified by this, and he begged the Lord for guidance. He also ordered everyone in Judah to begin fasting. So the people from all over the towns of Judah came to Jerusalem to seek the Lord's help. So now, verse 5. Jehoshaphat stood before the community of Judah and Jerusalem, and he prayed. He was in front of all of them. This wasn't like he didn't go to his quiet place. There's times that like this, you get out and be public with your prayers. Just backing up a little bit, they're seeking the Lord, and he set himself to seek the Lord. So Jehoshaphat's prayer is one of the most elegant prayers offered in the Old Testament. He begins by recognizing the Lord's power. You alone are the God who is in heaven. You are the ruler of all the kingdoms of the earth. Then he recognized God's great power and works. You are powerful and mighty. No one can stand against you. Oh, our God. He's claiming him. You are our God. Did you not drive out those who lived in this land? Did you not drive out all of that other stuff that happened in my life previously? And here I've got facing something really big. But he's been with you all this whole time. And he reminds God, it's not like God forgot, but God loves it that when we know the historical portion, and that we know it so well that we can talk to him about it. This is what you did. You parted the Red Sea. You split the rock, and water came out of it. You did this. He likes that. Do we know all of the things that he performed to be able to have that conversation like he did? In verse 9, they said, whenever we are faced with any calamity such as war, plague, or famine, we can come stand in your presence before this temple where your name is honored. We can cry out to you and say to save us, and you will hear us and rescue us. And so, look down at verse 12. Oh, our God, won't you stop them? We are powerless against this mighty army that is about to attack us. We do not know what to do, but we are looking to you for help. What a confession. Have you said that? Have you talked like that in your prayers? I don't know what to do. I feel like I have many times. You just get in and you just feel like the walls are closing in and you don't know which way to turn. You don't know what to do. Tell him that. You are fully dependent on him for everything. In verse 13, as all of the men of Judah stood before the Lord with their little ones, wives and children. Now see, I love that. The whole families are there together. The little ones, the wives, the children. Everybody is seeing the men of Judah gather together, and God is being prayed to, being worshiped. Verse 14 says, the Spirit of the Lord came upon one of the men standing there, and his name was Jahaziel, son of Zechariah, a Levite who is a descendant of Asaph. He said, listen, all you people of Judah and Jerusalem, listen. King Jehoshaphat, this is what the Lord says. Do not be afraid. Don't be discouraged by this mighty army, for the battle is not yours, but God's. I don't know about you, but I just want to jump up and down whenever I hear that. That is so strong and powerful. It's divine intervention all over this. And so this shows ownership. God claims the conflict as his own. If you're going through something right now, it's God's deal. If you're a believer, then you pray, I don't know what to do, just like they did. And I'm looking for you to help. Look at everything that he prayed. That's why it's just such an elegant prayer. And then it shows the authority. He possesses the power to overrule natural odds, strategies, and numbers. You get a doctor's report that's talking about the numbers. The numbers is what scares us all the time. Oh my goodness, my number is too high. My number is too low. My count is off. My count is there's not even a count. You know what I'm saying? There's so many things that we just get wrapped up in it. But God's got the authority over all of that. And then there's the initiative. The Lord steps in before Judah lifts a sword. Fear and discouragement lose their footing when God pledges to fight. He has assured them that it's mine. And the outcome. Victory is guaranteed by God's character, not by human effort. See, in everything, especially I use me as an example all the time, because it seems like there's always something that I feel like I have to get in and fix. But my human effort has no bearing on anything that we've ever had happen. It has been that God has stepped in. He was always there. But sometimes you just get so wrapped up in the drama, in the chaos, in the diagnosis that somebody's going to say, well, I guess you're going to have to pray. Well, I guess maybe that should have been the first thing you did instead of spending sleepless nights, not just stressing about what was going on. And so what God did during Jehoshaphat's day, he gave them direction. Let's look at 17. It says, but you will not even need to fight. Take your positions and stand still and watch the Lord's victory. He told them, he gave them that direction. Let's look at verse 21. Worship led warfare. Oh, he's going to tell them to sing? Oh my goodness. After consulting the people, the king appointed singers to walk ahead of the army, singing to the Lord and praising him for his holy splendor. And this is what they sang. Give thanks to the Lord. His faithful love endures forever. Now, should I go back and remind you that in verse 3, Jehoshaphat was terrified by the news of these armies coming? Now look what's happened. This is a whole different story. The battle plan was a worship plan. And that's the best kind of battle plan ever. And then in verse 22, look at this. It's a divine ambush. At the very moment they began to sing and give praise, and the Lord caused the armies of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir to start fighting among themselves. Oh my word. Who would have thought that could have ever happened? And then verses 24 to 25 was a complete deliverance. So when the army of Judah arrived at the lookout point in the wilderness, all they saw were dead bodies lying on the ground as far as they could see. Not a single one of the enemy had escaped. King Jehoshaphat and his men went out to gather the plunder. They found vast amounts of equipment. There was so much there that it took them 3 days to collect it all. That's what God did. That's what God did. 3 armies coming at this one army. God took care of it. There's divine intervention today for believers. Do you believe that? Do you believe what you're reading? God still fights for his covenant people. Let me get my Bible out here real quick. I should have had some of these things marked. Romans 8:31 says, oh, this is also good. What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? Our role is faith, obedience, praise, in his victory. We've got spiritual battles going on. There's temptation, persecution, fear, but all of that is God's to win. So if we focus and practice trust, that will displace the panic. Worship will displace the worry. And the practical takeaways from this whole section is identify the true battle. It's often unseen and always spiritual. Seek God first. Let prayers and fasting frame the crisis. You know, I like to draw. And so whenever I've got something going on, you know, I'm sitting here in my office, I've got all my pencils out, and I'm starting to sketch what I'm seeing in the Bible. And then a lot of times I start writing the scriptures around whatever it was that I wrote down or that I sketched out, as Cassie calls it, my doodle journal. But seek him first. Make all your focus be on him. Have you got sticky notes around in your room that you can just look at? Some of these things that Jehoshaphat prayed, I've got them highlighted, and it's like I told my daughter, put those on a sticky note and put them on your bathroom mirror so you see them every day that you get up and get ready for work. So we as believers believe in every promise that God has given us in the Bible. And so we stand firm on his promises rather than scrambling for a worldly solution. That makes no sense because we know how confusing the world is. It makes no sense. And then lead with praise like they did. That should be your battle plan. Your battle plan should always be a praise plan. Gratitude invites his intervention. And then, after all of that said and done, expect a tangible outcome. Found my pencil. I say I found it. It popped out of my Bible just there. Okay, that was for me. I mean, it didn't go away, but it here it is. What was lost was found. I was convinced it was gone forever. I really was. I hated that too. But it was just a pencil. But it was a tangible outcome. And it magnifies his glory and strengthens faith. When you pray about it, when you pray about something and it appears, do you feel like, oh, well, I'd have found it? Well, I don't think that that I would have ever found it in that. I don't think it would have been there, if you want to know the truth. But every challenge that exceeds your strength is an invitation to witness God's strength. When he says, the battle is not yours, but mine, he is pledging his presence, his power, and his prevailing victory. And it's all for you. So, How do we let God fight for us? Realize that the battle is not ours, never was, shouldn't have been. We like to take it on so we can grumble and complain about it and share all of our sad stuff with everybody. Share the good stuff with everybody. I gave it to God and he took care of it. Share that. By recognizing our limitations and allowing God's strength, He takes care of it. Ask God for help in whatever you're dealing with right now, whatever you're dealing with today. Ask God to come, to let Him know that you don't know what to do. You've had probably some sleepless nights. You don't know what to do. You don't even know which way to turn. Just like the Spirit came over that one man, the Spirit can come on you, and you will be enlightened. I am so glad that you joined me today, and I'm sorry that we didn't get to jump into Romans today, but please read it because, oh my goodness, it is so good too. Everything about Romans. I mean, that is just an amazing book of the Bible. But come back today at noon, and we're going to talk about Psalms 21, and I can't wait to get to that one. So you have a blessed day, and tomorrow morning, Wendy will be on, and so we look forward to seeing her. I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Grace.